Gamers of Reddit, what is your biggest gaming confession? When I was 15 I hid under the bed, so my mum though I left for school, then spent the whole day playing RuneScape. In high school I lied to a girl I was dating and told her I was going on a family trip to visit relatives for a week. In reality, I had just hit level 60 in WoW and wanted to get in on a week of uninterrupted raiding. My ex's roommate told his GF he was cheating on her. He wasn't, so she would break up with him and he could continue running arenas. To all the Burning Crusade and Wrath era healers, I'm sorry for standing in the fire. Lag isn't the real reason why I suck. I like to play MMORPGs but I hate interacting with other players. I'm really bad at playing morally corrupt characters in RPGs. Anytime I try to do an evil character in Skyrim or Fallout I just start feeling bad for everyone. I can't even play as a greedy character and just end up refusing payment for helping all the slaves I've rescued. Same problem. I'm going to replay this game with an evil character this time to see how it's different, then I feel guilty after luring that insane wood elf in Oblivion out into the woods to murder him because he's mentally ill and it's probably not really his fault he's like that. When I play sports video games on single player career mode I put the difficulty way down to become statistically the greatest athlete of all time. I have never played any horror game due to being a huge puss. Right there with you. Sometimes I'll watch a YouTube video on how to defeat an enemy if the enemy keeps defeating me. Same here. Similarly with puzzles, it gets to a point where you're just frustrated and you'll be happier about not having to deal with it any more than the feeling of achievement for overcoming it. I never played Civ 2 on anything other than the first 2 difficulty levels. I never played Minecraft on anything other than peaceful. I played Madden for years on rookie difficulty, only then upping it the next level. I was regularly last in DPS in my WoW guild, playing a warlock in vanilla. My friends, I am bad at video games. Also have to have Minecraft on peaceful whenever I'm playing single player, and then for multiplayer survival I just live somewhere with a million torches on the ground. There was a Buffy the Vampire Slayer game for the original Xbox. My wife, girlfriend then, loved Buffy and the game. One day she was away at class, and I was hanging out and playing with her roommates. Playing the game, you suckers, and we discovered if you plugged controllers into ports 2-4, you could control the bad guys. So we set it up. She came home. We didn't tell her our findings. She was playing and we were doing stupid and crazy crap with the vampires and other bad guys. She was too into the game to notice us playing too, especially when the players in her only player game were doing stupid crap like fighting each other and committing suicide by jumping off cliffs and other things. Oh my god, it was hilarious to watch her lose her crap. My confession is that it was the most fun I ever had in a video game at her expense. While I have fond memories of playing them, I've never beaten Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask. I actually enjoy Spore. Spore on its own is pretty fun, it's just really disappointing when you compare it to all the pre-release gameplay. When I was a kid and LAN was done with those huge butt monitors and desktop PCs, my friend and I would play Diablo 2, Lord of Destruction. We'd set up after school Friday and pretend to go to bed at 11 PM. Then sneak out of bed, rip open some bag goodies and play until the sun came up and go to bed before our parents woke up. This was shortly before our internet was good enough to play online, so we played locally. I was hosting the server and we had played for a couple of weeks, at which point I was getting bored with not getting enough loot. While setting up one weekend, I went online and found a so-called trainer that could be used to change drop rates, rarity, and XP gain. I feigned server problems at some point during the evening, reopened local server with hacks enabled, and denied having done anything when we started getting runes, weapons and armor we'd never seen drop in Act 3, Nightmare before. It was fun, but I realized we couldn't keep playing like that, so I disabled them after only a few minutes, but it was too late for it not to become that one time we got super lucky with the loot in Act 3. My friend told all our other friends, and I had to play along and lie until we eventually moved on to other games. No one ever doubted me as after the initial confusion from my friend. When I claim I've played a game, what I actually mean is that I spent hours and hours playing around with the character creator, making celebrities, anime, myself and or my cat, and then played the actual game for like 2 seconds after that. Pokemon is fun, but the reason people hack and gen is because trying to be legitimately competitive takes too long and is super frustrating. I buy random games from Humble Bundle for 2 reasons. First, I think I'm gonna play them someday in the future, and second, it makes my Steam library bigger, thus cooler. LOL, I am pathetic. I've never told anybody this. Whilst playing League of Legends, one of my friends said they were going to get a name change. I knew it wouldn't last, as their names never do. They always go back to their original one. So I made a new account with their original username. A couple of weeks later they were complaining about the fact they couldn't change it back. I stayed quiet. I like playing games on easy. Don't get me wrong. Playing on higher difficulty is fun too. But more often than not I find myself wanting to just plow through a single player campaign as OP as possible. Halo, Skyrim. Spent most of my time in these on lowest difficulty just hammering through helpless opponents. Good zone out for me. I always stop to look at video game butts. RuneScape. 500 days playtime. My guilty pleasure. I never tell anyone I play though. Telling someone I play on my Xbox is thousands of times more acceptable than saying I play RuneScape for 16 hours a week. I swore on a Christian Minecraft server. The police have been notified and your account will be terminated shortly. Last year I built a $1,400 gaming PC and all I've played is Skyrim. I buy many local multiplayer games, but don't have anyone to play it with. Well, I sometimes get to play some with a friend, but not that often. This is more of a console confession instead of a specific gaming confession, but when I was growing up I really wanted a Game Boy when they came out. Unfortunately my mom was raising 2 kids alone at the time and couldn't afford it, so obviously I was heartbroken. Years later, my mom could finally afford a Game Boy SP and I must confess that to this day, it is one of my most prized possessions and I still have it in the body armor that my mom bought for it to prevent scratches. My husband laughed at me the first time he saw it in all its plastic armored glory, but I don't care. That thing will last the test of time. I hoard all items and restart from save points if I have to use an ether or anything above a high potion, despite finishing games with too many to use. I'm not quite that extreme, but I did finish FF6 with over 15 elixirs. I didn't use any throughout the entire game because I was saving them for the end. I didn't need them at the end. I prefer to play all of the games on easy. I'm okay with that. Sometimes after a long day of work that's all I want to do. Play for the plot. I played Mass Effect Andromeda that way and it was actually fun as I don't have to bother about picking the right skill tree or replaying missions because I died like 15 times. Same goes for Fire Emblem. I may have made the Sims simulate my ideal life, then ruined it for them, making them an butthole with money. Wife left him. He's now broke. Every time someone comes over they come for a fight. I tend to just make antisocial losers that get locked in a basement and write novels 24/7, disregarding all other wants and needs. Those lucky Sims actually got to see the release of The Winds of Winter. FIFA isn't fun. I still play religiously but seriously frick that game. I'm addicted to getting achievements, only slightly ashamed. I've played thousands of hours of violent games but have never felt the desire to shoot up a school. I rolled need on that crawl blade. I didn't actually need it, I just wanted it. I once broke a lazy boy from being frustrated by a game. To unlock something, I want to say, in Soul Blade, yeah, not Soul Calibur. Freaking Soul Bleed, you had to play on the hardest level. I wanted it. I played it on the hardest level, over and over. No matter my skills, timing, choices in any regard, the computer would always barely win. Inexplicably I took it out on my chair, then I beat the level, and now, almost 2 decades later, I'm admitting it online and feeling like an butthole. Thanks Reddit. For the League players out there, I have 120k mastery points on Taric, 80k of which was before the rework, and still have never played him support. This is only acceptable if you use the fabulous pink skin. Never finished Majora's Mask despite the Zelda series being my favorite and having played every other game in the series at least twice. I've started it several times and usually put a couple hours into it, but have never felt the urge to finish it ever. That's said by a lot of people actually. For many people it was the mechanic of the constantly starting over. It feels like you never truly progressed. I never signed up to Steam till 2014 despite being a PC gamer since the 90s. I've kept Civ 6 open on my computer since the free weekend on Steam, and haven't had to pay for it at all. I plan to keep milking that until my computer eventually has to shut down. I love Bioshock. Have up to 2 of it, know a lot about it, love the loop through games, but I never played the second one or any DLC. My favorite Zelda is Wind Waker. Oh god, yes. When I was 8 I would attend hot room parties on Habbo Hotel. I don't actually enjoy Civ all that much. I mean, I like it, and I like the Civ subreddit. It just eats too much of my time for me to enjoy it properly, and I'd generally rather be doing something else. Most of the time it just feels like I'm going through the motions and making the same route through the game I always take, which means I'm just pouring 8 hours into a Skinner box without any real sense of accomplishment at the end of it. I'm all played out on Civ V and Civ 6 is okay, but it hasn't really wowed me yet. I admit, I did enjoy the whole district thing more than I thought I would, but none of the leaders have that. I absolutely have to play as this person wow factor that Isabella and Pocatella had in V. I think they're great games, but I have no desire to rack up thousands of hours in them, even though they're really the only games I play. I buy games for their single player campaigns. I couldn't care less about online. The only games I've played online in the last year were Killing Floor 2 and Divinity Original Sin 2. Both were co-op with a friend. I have no interest in competing with strangers online. I enjoy farming simulator games. Sometimes I'd rather just watch let's plays online. Also, while I do enjoy intense games considered to be real games, I prefer more low-key games that relax me like Sims, Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing. My favorite games are 4XS like Civilization, EU4 and Endless Legend. I have a few unplayed ones in my queue, but I usually wind up playing The Binding of Isaac or Overwatch because learning a new 4X is too daunting. I jerk off to Rule 34 of games that have the hot babes. You have been visited by Moneybird. Upvote in 5,861 seconds and you will get rich. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.